Morning, everybody. My name is Matt, the Awakening Angler, and I want to thank you for joining me today. I'm back on Oneida Lake this morning. It's Saturday. I am going this morning right back to where I left those walleyes yesterday. I'm going to go back on that structure, and I'm going to throw shiver minnows at them like I did yesterday. Here's the one thing. There is another piece of structure a little bit farther east that I also want to try. So I don't know how long I'm going to be at the first spot. But there is another spot that I want to try this morning. Specifically looking for walleyes. It looks to be flat calm. I'm leaving the river right now. On the west end of Oneida Lake. Excuse me. So that's my plan for today. I will update you at the top of the hour and let you know what I'm doing. But my goal today is to go back on that structure, to jig those walleyes again, and hopefully get dialed in with a little better year class of fish. Yesterday was one keeper and all shorts. I'm looking for a larger group of school of larger fish. So let's see. Stay tuned. We'll see you in a little while. Well, here we are at the 7 a.m. update. This is my first bite of the morning, and he missed it. It's a small sheepy, but I'll tell you what. He fought more like a smallmouth. I mean, they fight great. I wish walleyes fought like sheep's head do. So, same spot. I'm sorry. I'm doing a little spot within a spot. There's one little off to the side hump that I found. That I wanted to check out before I went right into my sweet spot that it's been so good for me. I met up with a friend of mine out here. He'd already had one this morning on a black and purple bucktail with a worm. I already had one tied on. I don't know why. I just thought, boy, it's a perfect morning. This, in the old days when I used to launch at Godfrey Point, this would be the 119 to 117 drift, which was my favorite drift. I got to get him unhooked and back in the water. All right. Talk to you in a few. Another sheep's head. Sheeptail. Sheep's head are loving the bucktail. Finally. Right at the boat. $19. See you, buddy. All right, so real quick, I want to show you. You can see on my graph my plot lines. I went back and forth across this hump, this piece of structure. And it took me 3 different tries to get a line to where you see my cursor. I'm going to center punch right down through the center. On the very top, the green is the shallow water. On top of that piece of structure right there, I'm going to drift right down through the middle of it. So let's see what happens. All right, everybody, it's the 8 a.m. update. So I went over that structure, that first piece of structure that I fished. I would say 10 drifts. Ended up there with 3 sheep's head and 1 walleye, about 19 inches. Nice fish. All on black and purple bucktail with half a worm, and that's all I fished this morning. For whatever reason, I started with it. Even though they were sheep's head, they started eating it. Then the walleye ate it, and now I found another pot of fish that I'm going to start fishing, and I'm still sticking with the black and purple bucktail. We're getting to have some high sun. I haven't thrown anything else yet, so we'll see how long I go with it. All right, I'll check in with you at 9. All right, time for the 9 a.m. update. All right, here's the 9 a.m. update. I switched gears a little bit. I'm in the same spot. But I started just straight drifting. Nice walleye. Be a little short, 14 and a half. So I dropped the bottom bouncer rig. This is the Northland Tackle Slick Stick. This is a 2-ouncer. I'm in anywhere from 21 to 28 feet of water. Just fishing 1 rod. I'm holding it and I'm drifting it. And we talked about worm harnesses the other day. When I'm bottom bouncing, whether I'm trolling them or drifting them, I want to have just enough line out to where I'm just ticking bottom with my bottom bouncer and I can feel it. Any more than that, and I don't think you're doing yourself any favors. So that was my, let's see, I've made 2 drifts. I've had 4, all shorts, but I've had 4 walleyes on top of this reef. And the top of this windblown reef, it's 27, 28, 29 feet all around it, and it's 20 on top. And it is alive with fish. Every time I've drifted over this spot, I've caught fish. The only reason I stopped jigging was I had 4 bags out, and I could barely keep it below 0.9. So that for me is a little fast, but I still could have did it, but I chose not to. And this has been fun, and I'm doing it with just 1 rod, holding it in my hand. I'm feeling the fish bite. I'm ticking bottom. It's awesome. So I'm gonna go back up and do it again. I'll see you guys at 10. Morning. Here's your 10 a.m. update. They're not the biggest fish, but it is absolutely loaded on top of this reef. I'm bottom bouncing in a hammer harness. I put about a 4-foot lead on it, and I'm running it under a 2-ounce bottom bouncer. But I found a spot on top of this windblown reef. Now I know it's windy, so I'll be quick. That is absolutely loaded, but the wind's blowing so hard, I can't really slow down enough to jig. So I started pulling harnesses, just drifting. And I don't know, that's probably the 6th or 7th fish I've had. I'm catching at least 1 or 2 every drift, and I just keep going up and drifting over the same spot. And it's 150 yards long, and it's on top of this reef. It's 29 feet all the way around it. It's 19 on top. I just made a pass where I didn't put my rod in the water. I just put my underwater camera and my Markham down. And it's not easy to get a good picture on that thing with the glare, the sun glare, and it's spinning around down there. But when I got it to the bottom, all you could see were walleye, 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 walleye going by. Even though it was spinning around in circles, it was loaded. So, I'm going back up. What's up, everybody? It's Matthew Waking the Angler, and let's wrap up the morning. I fished this morning from 5:30 until, what time is it now? About 10:30. So I had 5 hours. Saturdays and Sundays I always have a little bit longer, so it was nice. I got down to my spot. I'm still fishing these. There's a series of small reefs on the north side or the south side of a main reef in mid-lake. And I've found them on the deeper side, on the south side, which would be the channel side. Now today, I got out there and there's a couple little, we had a nice west wind, west-northwest wind. I know the guys on Lake Erie and Lake Ontario are probably screaming about it because I'm sure it's bumpy up there. But where I was, it was in the morning, it was perfect drift, perfect. 2 bags, 0.5, 0.6. Started right off with a black and purple bucktail this morning. I don't know why I got out there. Maybe it was nostalgia, but it just seemed like that kind of morning. It was a kind of gray. And I see a friend of mine out there, and he had messaged me and said he had just got one on a black and purple. I already had one tied on. So I was using a black and purple bucktail. Actually, the jig itself was a friend of mine, Mark Costello, gave it to me back during Walleye Fest. It's the first time I've used it. Anyway, I got down there and I got on fish right away. They were on the first hump all the way on the outside, right on the edge of 30 foot of water. This was a smaller one. It topped out at about 25 feet, and fish were pegged right on top of it and on the upwind side of it. I drifted over that this morning for an hour and a half, probably a dozen times. I ended up with 2 walleyes and 3 sheep's head off that pile, all on the black and purple bucktail, half a worm. So then I slid a little bit east and a little bit south, and there's another reef that splits off, and there's a deep trough between this little one and the main one. Here again, it was 27 to 29 feet all the way around it. It was 19 to 21 on top, and I'm going to tell you, when I say loaded, it could not have been more loaded, to the point where late this morning, every time I drifted over it, now I switched up my program a little bit. The wind started gradually picking up substantially throughout the morning. And so I didn't have, try to get a little better lighting. I couldn't get myself slowed down enough to jig effectively. I couldn't get it much below 0.9, and that was a little fast for me. So I said, I'm not gonna fight it, I'm gonna embrace it. I'm gonna make lemonade, and the lemonade was delicious. So I went back upwind, I spun the boat straight downwind, no bags, and let it just drift straight. And I rigged the bottom bouncer rod and put a worm harness on. Put it down in the water. It wasn't down 50 feet. Crack. And that kept going all morning, the rest of the morning. I just kept going up, drift back down, up, drift back down, over and over and over. And so one of the drifts, I put my Markham ice fishing camera down. All you could see was walleyes. Walleye, walleye, walleye. Just stacked right over, hovering over the top of the rocks. Just stacked like cordwood. It was It was incredible. What I will say is, the fish that I caught, so I ended up probably with, I don't know, 12 or 15 walleyes, a big pumpkin seed, and another sheepie. So I ended up with 4 sheepies. Only one keeper today. I had a ton of those fish in that 13 to 14 and a half inch. Doesn't matter to me. I don't keep them anyway, necessarily, most times, once in a while. So I don't get hung up on keeper or no keeper, but they were there, and that's what was biting. And it was fun with just running. I was running one rod. I was holding it. It wasn't in my rod holder, and I could feel that tick, 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 tick at the bottom, and you'd feel that duk, 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 and you'd stick them. It was great. I'm sure you could have run multiple rods and had multiple rods going at all times. And you could have really figured out what they wanted as far as blade, color, that kind of thing. I did do one other thing off the back of that bottom bouncer this morning. I just saw it on InFisherman on a video on YouTube the other day. I took a number 9 black and silver F floating, just a regular Impala, black and silver. I took about a 4.5 foot lead, 10-foot fluorocarbon, and I ran it off the back of my bottom bouncer, and I stuck that little stick bait down there. There again, caught 2 walleyes on that in one pass, and the first time it got down there, I went over the top of that hump, and it wasn't in the water 5 minutes. Probably wasn't even in the water a minute. Put it down, set it, held it, just start feeling it tick, dunk, dunk, dunk. I was like, right on. So, today was fun, a lot of fun for me. I did something I don't normally do, and I did just that. A lot of guys will run a rod off the back while they're jigging up the front. Then I find I don't really pay much attention to either of them. So, I try to just do one thing at a time, as a rule. So, that's my day. I want to thank every single one of you out there for joining me today, for subscribing, for liking, for sharing with your friends. If you like what I do here today, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you a dime. I had to think about that one. It doesn't cost you a dime to subscribe, but it really means a lot to me. So thank you very much. Keep your tip up. Have a great Saturday. It's beautiful out.